Hi, travelers. This is a elemental earth sign reading for the website today. My new cards have arrived. Let me show them to you. Here is the back of them. Aren't they pretty? And they are called the Before Tarot. Okay. And so, based upon the principle of these cards, this tells us a little action about what happened before this scene showed up. I also have another deck, which is called the After, which shows us what happens after this. So this is kind of the middle point, the way the cards are designed. I literally ran across these cards by accident, and they really are interesting. My daughter and I were taking a look at both of the decks, all three decks together, and we were comparing the images between the three. And so I'm going to try to give you a reading with these, and we shall see what the cards have to say. I've already done some shuffling, and I hope that the cards can provide you with some insight if you need some. Okay, so with that said, let me turn the thing around. Hopefully, I think I have discovered why my camera has been cutting off. I think so. That's not a promise, in which case, if it does not, if it shuts off, I'll come back. So, and somebody told me that the volume comes back at a different rate when I come back on. So I will try to address that as well. So let me put one more shuffle. And then let's lay the cards. Look at that. The Eight of Swords. Isn't that interesting? Remember, in the regular Eight of Swords, we don't know how the woman got in the position that she's in. But here we see that she's being I don't know if forced is the right word, but she's being led to the spot where we see her standing in the regular Eight of Swords. The Wheel of Fortune, which has absolutely nothing on it except the moon and the sun. And the Devil card. There we see the devil hanging on to the chain. The woman is already there, but the man is a bit hesitant. Wow. That's really interesting. Let's see what it's the Ace of Pentacles. And there are two hands there. Now, this could either be your two hands holding it or your hand with another person's. Yeah. The Sun card. If you notice the difference between this card and the regular Sun is there. The baby is usually on the horse holding the flag himself, and there's sunflowers behind him. But here we don't have that. The Three of Swords. The Four of Wands. The Eight of Cups. Our only eclipsed deck card. Now, here's what's interesting. Right down the center, I have the Wheel of Fortune with the sun and the moon. Here I have the sun, and here I have a depiction of the eclipsed moon. And I have two eights here. Okay. Last card. The Page of Swords. Now that is an interesting, there are two birds here. What's under the deck? Well. The Strength card. We know that, let me show you. Let me show you. Here is the regular Strength card. We see her prying open the mouth of the lion. But in this one, we see her approaching the lion, and the lion is roaring at her. Okay? So to me, what this says is that something is about to come about. Maybe there's a situation in which you feel as though you have been led to, or maybe even coerced into, a situation which you are not comfortable with, which can go either way. Honestly, it can go either way. I also get the sense that there's somebody that you're dealing with who is not necessarily a fear of commitment. Indeed. What I find to be interesting is the fact that the female in this card feels as though she's the one who's being led into a situation which she is not comfortable with. Even though it affords you an opportunity for some stability. But I think here the Wheel of Fortune changes that situation. And what I mean by that is that suddenly, for whatever reason, and I don't think it's necessarily suddenly, although that's the energy that comes off the card, the guy backs out of the situation. But also, to me, what's interesting is this idea that with the sun here, the sun says that really it's a somewhat positive thing. Maybe this was about the two of you moving in together. That's the shucking up card. And we see that cart there. The man is driving the cart and the woman is waving. That's not usually what we see in the four of... And there's a whole bunch of people. I don't know if you can see them here in the background. As if people have been waiting for this couple to arrive. So I kind of get the sense that maybe this was a wedding or an engagement that now has suddenly been called off or will be called off. But even still, with the sun card in the center, lets me know that this situation is still a positive turn of events. Because maybe the truth is that you should not be at this particular point in time. I would say we can look at the sun as being the summer, as well as the strength card, which represents the summer, the month of August. We should not be, this is not something that should go forward perhaps at this time. It doesn't mean that it's not supposed to go forward at all. It's just that at this time, it's not supposed to happen for whatever reason, and we don't know what that reason is. Now, I have 2 8s, a 10. Actually, the sun would be another 10 because that's a 19, and 1 plus 9 is a 10. A 3, a 4, and 1 court card here with 1, 2, 3, 3 major arcana. 2 swords, a cup, a pentacle, wow, a wand, and a sword. So all of these suits are represented here. But I have 2, 3 swords. 1, 2, 3 swords, 1 pentacle, 1 wand, 1 cup, and 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana in the spread. Now, let me take a look for you at first the meaning of the 2 8s, and then I'll give you the meaning of the 3 8s. Okay? 2 8s, you will receive news that affects the relationship. There it is. 3 8s says that you and your beloved are going on a trip. But that's this 8 up here, and it's outside of the realm of, there's a trip, but the trip is going backwards. arriving back to the, arriving back. I don't know where you're arriving back to or back from. Um, Let me see here if I can give us a timing, particularly with this. There is no timing here for the Page of Swords. The Three of Swords gives me a timing of October 3rd through the 15th here. The Eight of Cups relates to persons born October 2nd through the 7th. Now that's interesting. This person would be a Libra, an early Libra, maybe Virgo Libra. This is July 21st through the 21st of August. This card. Okay. This summer. There is no timing for this card. The Devil would be December 21st through January 19th. So, the next 3 months out. Now, the meanings of the card, even though the images are different, are pretty much the same. You're being given an opportunity at this particular point in time here during the summer, but whatever this opportunity is, there's going to be a bit of pain involved in it, or the possibility of pain. So let me see if I can see anything as they relates to the cards sitting next to these major arcana cards, okay? Where's my swords? Now, the Eight of Swords next to the Sun implies that regardless of any current adverse conditions, a definite change for the better is on the way. It tells you to persist as your hard work, effort, and intent will bring about the desired outcome, to fruition in quick time. Two eights in a reading implies that there may be a slight concern in regards to a new romance or partnership. 3 eights tell of anxiety, hassles, obstacles, and delays. Okay. Let me see about this Ace of Pentacles here, if it tells me anything. The Ace of Pentacles with the Wheel of Fortune indicates that your hard work has paid off and you are able to receive your just rewards. It is an indication of ideas coming to positive fruition. With 3 Swords cards is a message to carefully consider your plans, as becoming involved in an unclear situation may lead to ongoing duress, as you may be taking on more than you can handle. Next to the 3 of Swords. Oh, here, this one. With 3 Swords cards. Okay, let me read that again. The Ace of Pentacles with next to the 3 of Swords is telling you it is a message to carefully consider your plans, as becoming involved in an unclear situation may lead to ongoing duress, as you may be taking on more than you can handle. When it appears with 3 Swords cards, is implying that you have taken on more than you can handle and you are asked to take one step at a time. I don't know what this is telling me. Let's look at the Four of Wands, shall we? Nothing about the Four of Wands. So now the Eight of Cups. Nothing about the Eight of Cups. Okay. Now there's something I don't understand. So since this is my first time reading with the book, let me see with the card, with the deck. There's something I want to see about this devil card. The actual action of the male figure in the deck. Isn't this interesting? It says that the devil promises a life without limits. It is a seductive possibility that's not merely tempting, it is practically irresistible. But unfortunately, it's also a contradiction in terms, because by definition, physical existence is a finite experience. Well, isn't this something? This is something new. It says, believe it or not, the devil is actually one of the 4 archangels in the tarot deck. He is Uriel, and his name means flame of God. However, most people know the devil as Lucifer, another archangel who was kicked out, a name that means bearer of light. It doesn't tell me why this guy is... They say they're supposed to be dancing, but to me he looks as though he is resisting the temptation that the devil has to offer. Okay? Even this, to me, it looks as though, because she's faced towards this Wheel of Fortune, it's as though, even though being blindfolded, you know that whatever this situation is, somebody's not going to be supportive of you. Somebody's not going to stick to whatever it is they have promised you here. But for some reason, you perhaps try to move forward with it anyway. There's something about the Sun card. Ah, okay. The baby is pretty much kind of floating around, kind of caught between heaven and earth. And if you'll notice, the sunflowers, what do sunflowers do? Sunflowers follow the sun. So this is telling me that the sun has not, the situation has the potential for growth and abundance has not yet presented itself. Okay? See, the flowers have their heads down. We know that sunflowers follow the sun around, and as the sun shines on them, they twist and they turn. So again, it kind of reads the idea that this is a situation that is going to turn. But even if it goes the wrong way, all right, the sun offers you a chance to see things clearly, because here you're not clearly seeing whatever it is you need to see. It's as if you are blind to the turning of the wheel, but yet you still, and I don't know if some of you have been placed in a situation which you are being required to go ahead with this or not. That is the implication of this Eight of Swords, that someone is leading you in this direction or pushing you in this direction. But the truth is, you always have choice. Do you not? It says you are feeling trapped or stymied. So you should look for creative ways to liberate yourself. This Three of Swords here. And I only see the one. Right. The Raven. The Raven portends bad news. We see it here. This is somebody definitely backing out of a situation. I don't even know if maybe they got drunk. They left and they got drunk. And all of a sudden they say something to you, or you realize what it is. But I cannot help but feel that you already know this. But I don't know if you feel as though you are obligated to follow through because maybe the person put forth something to you. Page of Swords. We see that the swords haven't struck the heart yet, so this portends some bad news or some sorrow. Let's see, the Page of Swords. Ah. This card is saying the keywords are intelligence, keen powers of observation, and vigilance. In other words, it's telling you not to have your head in the clouds about this. Okay? And that, again, you're going to, here is the falcon. This bird has been trained to hunt and deliver messages. Again, whatever this thing is, it is coming. Let me see this Four of Wands. It's quite an interesting depiction. It says, now is the time to initiate or celebrate a marriage, partnership, or long-term commitment. I tell you that somebody is going to, I'm going to say, disappoint you. The Eight of Cups, abandonment, diversion, dreams deferred, temporary success, waning interest, troubled relationships, and fear of commitment. Fortify yourself for the journey ahead. Plan your route ahead of time, pack lightly, and know your final destination. From there, you can be open to experience. It says that he is fortifying his courage with a drink for the road. He is about to resume his travels alone. But the future is in flux. The wanderer has decided to go elsewhere in his quest for life's purpose and meaning. Someone else will be left to pick up the pieces he leaves behind. The card of abandoned success. I tell you that I do sense that someone is going to back out. You know, it's this Eight of Swords. Just the imagery of the Eight of Swords is, I didn't look at that, or did I? Let me see. The woman in the card is being held hostage by cutting words and painful thoughts. She's blindfolded because someone does not want her to see the truth. Cages are for wild animals that must be held against their will and kept from their true nature. The ground is wet and thick with mud, and that muddies her ability to stand on her own 2 feet. Imprisonment, paralysis, detriment, restriction, bondage, entrapment, victimization, crisis, criticism, blame, misfortune, and disgrace. I don't know what these cards are telling me, so let's look at this. Whatever this thing is, I do think it was triggered by the moon, our last eclipses, and maybe this goes back to 2017 when we had the Great American Eclipse. That would be what, 3 years ago? Even though the swords don't represent years, typically the swords will represent days. Well, actually for me, weeks. And the wands represent days. Let's see. Let me take a look at this 8 of Swords. L'amica. Desperate jealousy. And the Gran Signore. The Devil card. Another Wheel of Fortune, Fortuna. Alegria. And Leggerezza. I don't know if this is telling me this is somebody that you met perhaps maybe on your travels, because sometimes the Wheel of Fortune can be that idea of world travel, and that you met this person perhaps through friends, but I think you've let your guard down, and this could be costly, and your in your belief in this person. Right now it may be feeling good, or maybe it felt good, but there's going to be, I think, some revelation in terms of the person's character. I do not think this person will stick around. This card tells me so. This is before the swords actually pierce the heart. Let's look at this 8 of... I don't know if the person's already married, or maybe they have somebody else. Dinari. Oh, the precious presents. Would you look at that? And the Allegrezza al Cuore. 3 very positive cards on this 8 of Swords. So what this is telling me is that this person doesn't feel that the money or the security, any of the gifts, or even the celebration is what they want. And they're going to walk away from it. So the question is, what changes? Yeah? And if I had to pick a card, this is going to be that Wheel of Fortune, because something changes it. I'm going to look at this 3 of Swords as well, because the Strength card is definitely telling you that you need to be prepared, because there's There's something coming. Um, the cards are quite clear. The Messaggere. The Disgrazia. And the Yardro. Well, and I don't know if this person has some other kind of issue going on, like maybe behind the scenes, something you're not aware of. Maybe you've seen hints of it. That the person may have some kind of addiction, drinking problem, gambling problem. Maybe even has told you that somebody stole something from them. Okay? This portends a very negative change. But I think what I find interesting is that the positive side of these three cards falling on this Eight of Cups is the fact that even though you may be left, so to speak, in the lurch, really it's something that you should celebrate, because if you go through with it, ultimately it's going to be not so hot. Let's see what happens here. I mean, I can't tell you what to do. The Morte. Speranza. And the Dottore. You are going to be waiting for this person to come back. You have hope that the person is going to come back and fix it. And I'm here to tell you that the person will not. Even if they do come back, they will leave again. They're going to leave again. That's what these cards say. And the truth is, I don't even think, I hate to give messages like this. And if I had to pick one card out of this set of three, okay, I would, let me take a look at the Desperate Jealousy. All these cards are hearts, except for the diamonds. And this is in the suit of hearts and not the suit of money, of coins, because it relates to value and things held away from you. When people won't share their money with you, they're not going to share anything else with you. And if they're not willing to share their feelings, their emotions, their heart with you, they're not going to share their money with you. The precious, and this is a gift, really, in a sense, that should be celebrated. And I think this is telling me two things, is that the person comes back, you're going to celebrate the fact that they're back, but they're not going to stick around. I'm sorry to have to tell you that, but they're just not going to stick around. Okay, so what I want to read is the Desperate Jealousy. Consumed with jealousy. And this is the person who, this card is telling you that this person, it heralds the beginning of dark times. And when delineating somebody's outlook on life, it describes someone who has given up and does not want to fight anymore. Someone who feels that they have nothing to live for. It describes a person who lacks spiritual resources to pull through difficult times. But it can also symbolize the advanced stage. It's the Eight of Spades, and it warns of a toxic environment and toxic people around you. You may even feel that you are surrounded by seemingly nice people and that nothing in the environment is toxic. However, this invariably turns out to be false, revealing that those nice people were deeply envious and have been scheming behind your back to cause you ruin. It indicates treachery, slander, gossip, and envy. It is another card that warns of danger, or a danger coming from your circle of acquaintances. In love, it indicates extreme jealousy, envy, and possessiveness, as well as a selfish love centered around self-gratification or social climbing. Love, if it can be called love, comes with a heavy price to pay. In any kind of relationship, it indicates a lack of trust or a loss of self-respect. It foretells of a period of great turbulence that is about to enter your life. It heralds the arrival of traumatic events. More often than not, this card implies that you have failed to learn from past mistakes, or that a mistake from the past has come to exact payment in the present. You will feel as though you are a hapless victim of circumstances. Sometimes the card can indicate fatal outcomes, even in accidents, explosions. But in personal relationships, it heralds a painful and sudden separation, violence, the loss of a friend or family member, bereavement, and the traumatic and unexpected loss of a loved one. Okay. With the Yardrobe, he is the 10 of coins. This is a neutral card. It indicates the arrival of news, information, and communication. But the difference between this card and the letter is that this card can represent a letter or a package that has to be signed for, a hand-delivered letter, or a communication sent by special delivery. It implies that the news will not be generic like that of the letter. Sometimes it can also describe a messenger or mediator, or someone who finds themselves between two parties. It is linked to the action of sending or receiving something, or the arrival of someone. It refers to something that will soon be a part of your life, and it is connected to the idea of speed, rapid change, velocity, and movement, changing situations, and associated with the idea of the near future. But it indicates a person who steals something or someone from their rightful owner, or that someone can be a great financial strain. But it heralds a negative chain and a sudden turn of events for the worse. They are caused by the presence of ill-intentioned people near you. But it can also indicate a loss of any kind. The Thief card indicates a condition of mental, emotional, physical, or financial drain, and a very taxing situation on many levels. But on an emotional level, it refers to betrayal and treachery. It refers to demeaning situations, immoral practices, or being forced to do something under duress. When this card appears, it involves the concept of harm or harming someone else. In love, it indicates someone who is unfaithful and or someone who wants to steal your partner or steal you for themselves. But it can also indicate a lack of affinity between two people, whether in a love relationship or not. It is a card of contracts and clashes of personality. Excuse me. These three cards. On the, it is the Morte card. And if I'm not mistaken, that is the 7 of Swords, the Peachy. Hold on, I'm in the wrong. Here we go. I'm in the wrong section. Hold on. That's a tragedy card, the Disgrazia. What hell number is this? It is the 5. Okay, sorry. The card acts like a pair of cosmic scissors. It cuts the flow of a situation and brings it to an irreversible end. Usually this is a drastic, clean cut from which one cannot go back. But this can be positive if the relationship has been abusive in some way. It represents the end of a life cycle and something that has reached its end and is now ready to die out. It indicates abrupt and final change. But the card behaves in a particular way, as its function is that of deprivation. Okay, it cut off, so let me see if I can't get the volume up, so I'll have to edit it out in a moment. But the card, what I was saying about the in personal relationships, it indicates a separation, a breakup, or extreme incompatibility, or that someone has done something which can never be taken back and the relationship can never go back. It also represents someone who has metaphorically crossed the Rubicon and will never be able to go back in whatever way this applies to the particular person in question. It brands the person or the situation with the mark of irreversibility. Now, in some instances, it can indicate liberation and freedom from an oppressing condition, but it is always likely this change to come with a certain amount of discomfort and pain. Okay, we see that. Hold on, I've got cards are all messy. Now, we look at Esperanza. And the Esperanza card says, I just get the sense that maybe this person has some kind of addiction problem. Esperanza. It says, a prayer will be answered and hopes fulfilled, notwithstanding the apparent chaos, desperation, and turmoil of the present situation. It is connected to trusting in the universe and the faith in the divine. It indicates spiritual protection and an impenetrable shield that is granted by one's karma in the face of unwarranted adversity. Sometimes it is connected to the idea of trips. But it sometimes tells of a certain amount of emotional attachment to whatever you've invested in or whatever the transaction is going to be. The card says that it will be all right in the end, but I think this is because the guy tries to come back and you assume that it's going to be all right in the end, because here is the Doctore, the King of Wands, and this says, this card can be tied, there's an allegorical meaning, represents something, a type of behavior, a situation, a bad habit, a grudge, a broken heart, or trauma that needs healing or fixing, because it is at the root of your problem or crisis that you are undergoing at the present moment. It highlights the urgency to reconsider and change a flaw within yourself so that you can attract a better future. It will often mean that sometimes that help will be offered by someone who can help make a difference in your life, but not before you show a genuine willingness to help yourself. In love, it indicates a female who wants to fix her partner, thus highlighting her driving motivation in the relationship. That's what this says. It implies that past mistakes need to be rectified, but sometimes that is not always the case. Now, I'm going to pull an angel answer card, a romance angel card, and I'm going to pull a golden Nostradamus. This just doesn't feel very positive, but I think it was feeling good and everything was right, but we know that there's something really not right with this situation. So I'm going to first pull a golden Nostradamus Formulate your question for the Golden Nostradamus card. You're hoping that the situation can be fixed. And maybe the person does come back, you know, and for you, everything seems hunky-dory, but the person's not going to stick around. Everything they could ever want, happiness of the heart, gifts, security, and maybe they're just on a different timeline from you, okay? Oh Lord, I got the cards turned the wrong way. Hold on. I think I do. Okay, here we go. One more time. Number 25, the fish. Angel answer. Someone changing directions back and forth over and over again. And again, the fish are a representative of water, right? Romance. Romance angels. Financial issues. And I don't necessarily think that it's really financial issues. I think it's the idea of values. Number 25. Once you have let gossip fly, these tales you can never again belie. Silence will bring counsel and will not expose you to the attacks of others. Stop often and think. Stand still and reflect quietly. It will lead to the discovery of the right path to be taken. So that's what I was saying about this. I just kind of feel as though you're being led, or at least at the very least you're in a situation in which I think you know that you shouldn't do it. But for some reason, maybe you think that the situation's going to get better. I don't think so. Romance. A very important relationship is about to enter or has recently entered your life. This is the romance that you've been waiting for. And like all partnerships, there may be ups and downs, but do not let that deter you or shake your confidence. Have faith that love is coming into your life to stay. If your question was about a current relationship, you can expect the parties to become closer to one another. Past disagreements will fade away and trust will grow. All relationships have peaks and valleys. This card indicates an upward movement to a new level of dedication and intimacy. This can include engagement, marriage, or a form of recommitment to one another. That's what I'm saying. It's as though you're going back into the same thing and you are hoping that the situation will be different, but the person is not going to stick around. Finances and career. Money and love have historically been linked, and this card points to the correlation. The romance angels want to disentangle you from financial or career pressures so that you can enjoy every aspect of your life, including romance. While work can be a source of heart-opening satisfaction, it must be balanced with other facets of life such as playfulness and laughter. You receive this card because you'd benefit from an infusion of such lightheartedness. Call upon the angels to elevate your mood, energy level, finances, career, and anything else that will bring you peace. And I think what that card is telling you is that you're going to have to secure your own happiness and security. Why? Because that person is not going to stick around. And what you think is going to bring you this with this individual, it's not going to last. The person is on the road to leaving if they have not already. Okay, that's what I have for you, Earth signs. I wished I had better news for you. This is for September. Of course, you know, you can always get a personal reading to look more into your situation. but it just really reads as though whatever this relationship is, it's going to be in for some rough times, okay? And I don't think it will last. So until next time, namaste.